Welcome back to the Polinsky Fam channel. I'm Eddie. This is Chelsea. And we're back
We are.
for a couch conversation. If you can tell, we're on our beautiful couch. Not beautiful.
I can't wait to get rid of this couch.
Anyway, we always digress. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, we're in our studious, luxurious apartment. Seems to get smaller by the minute.
Well, of course it does now.
Yeah, now we got a little one almost running around.
Little nugget now.
Yeah, there's 5 of us
Yes.
in here. So if you can tell,
There's
baby,
no more baby in there.
no baby.
No baby. It's nice to have my body back.
You've always had your body.
No, but I've been sharing.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to have a
Yes,
had a child.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, how you feeling? How are things?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Feel good?
I do.
You ready to go run?
No.
No.
I don't run anyway.
That's true.
I didn't run before. I am ready to get back into being active though. That'd be nice.
Some kind of active.
So.
Anyway,
Well. Wow.
So yeah, we had our
priorities in our house.
Beautiful baby number 3, Alayna. Thankfully she's sleeping right now, so we could do this. Otherwise, we would not be doing this right now.
Yeah.
Even though they're watching it in the future, but
that's okay. It's nice to have quiet time though.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about natural birth.
Yes.
People always look at us sideways, especially you.
Yeah.
Why you ever?
Oh my God, I could never.
Yeah, why you even decided to do that? You're crazy.
That and give me all the drugs is what I usually get.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that, a little bit about our journey. This last one kind of threw us for a curve.
Yes.
But everybody's healthy. Everybody's happy. So
yeah.
Which is all we could really ask for at this point.
Yeah. Got some fun stories.
Yeah. So I'm going to just jump right into it.
All right. Why natural birth at birth centers?
I don't really have much say in this.
Instead of hospitals. Well,
even though I initiated it.
Yeah, it started because of you.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'll start it then. So we're having Declan at the time. We went to OBGYN.
Yes,
and first signs, as soon as we walked in, there was these teenagers that were in there. One, the guy had face tats already and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, I didn't know this is what we were getting into. Not that I judge or anything, just kind of is your first kid, not really expecting this kind of environment. I don't know if we picked the right OBGYN to go to in the first place. It was just convenient. It was close.
Yeah. I think we picked it because it was so close to work. Because we went right after work.
Best way to make your selection there. Obviously.
Never again.
But yeah, so we saw that, and then we went into the doctor's office. And as you were completely naked,
oh my gosh,
this guy is trying to have a conversation with me and talking about the lightning, and as he's all up in there,
he's doing my cervical exam. He's doing my exam. For moms, they know what the initial exam.
Yeah, guys, don't Google cervix. You probably find some interesting things around there, but it was just, is this really we're doing
full
this
conversation? And he was
so off put by it.
Oof.
He's not ready to have a kid in that sense. So that So then I put it in your hands. It's like, what do you want to do?
Well, you were like, I don't ever want to go back there again.
Yeah.
We need to find a new doctor was where we were.
The focal point.
Yeah. So we happened to go somewhere that evening, and we were talking about the appointment. And really good friend of mine had all 6 hours. Yeah.
They're our friends.
Yeah, you're right.
They're my friends too. Shout out Chicarellos. They probably don't even watch this, but
that's okay.
6 kids.
Yes. All 6 of their kids were born at select birth centers around the county. And she was just explaining it all to me, and I was fascinated by it.
Very fascinating.
Yes, I was fascinated by it. So I don't know. I just kind of like started looking into it from there, and then I just went with it. We didn't really turn back after that. But understanding like the power that you specifically have, and not relying on like what your body is actually created for, and not relying on medicine when it's not necessary. Because my belief, or our belief, like you don't go to a hospital unless you're broken or sick. And being pregnant and having a baby is neither of those in our perspective. So there was no need to go, right? Like there was no need to do it there. So especially when there's other options, I knew I never wanted to have them at home, mainly because I didn't want to have to clean up. After
just have them right on your floor
in the middle of the living room.
They give you a pool and stuff. Sometimes they'll bring in a pool.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Sorry. And yeah, I just didn't want it in the house.
Or in the tub. You do it in the tub.
We didn't have a tub at that time though. In our apartment or in our house.
Yeah, we did.
With Declan? We didn't? No, that was a shower only. We had no tub.
Oh, that would have been pretty cool. Just have them in the shower.
Wow, no. Yeah, so like finding like the birth center that I had Declan at was perfect, and it was perfect. I mean, and we just kind of never turned back. Like I never.
Yeah. So up to this point, all 3 kids were born at a birth center.
Yeah. Yeah.
All different experiences. Yeah. One took quite some time. We were there for pretty much 24 hours, it felt like. It was like 18 hours.
It was 18.
Second one, we were there for 6 hours. Brian, we were there for about 6 hours in total. With it from beginning to end.
Yeah. Well, my labor was 6 hours.
Now you're getting
to technicalities. Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. We were there for.
We got there at like 6 and left at noon.
Noon. Yeah, I guess you're right. Sorry. 6 hours. We were there.
12 minus 6 is 6.
And I'm supposed to homeschool.
And you're homeschooling your children. That's great. And then the last one, technically, we were there for 4 hours.
Yes. No, it was less than that.
We got there at 1 a.m. and left at 5:30. Yeah, so about
4 hours.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, 4.5 hours.
Wow.
Record time, which ended up biting us in the butt. 2 degrees.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, she was delivered super fast.
As was Brian.
Yeah, but it was leading into.
Oh yes, you're right.
Alayna's story. Her first 72 hours here on Earth.
My goodness.
It's 48. It's 48 hours. I'm not a number of people apparently.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, we're also like delirious from that whole 3 days, 4 days, really.
The whole week.
Yeah, it went by really fast.
It did.
Really fast. Like you're already a week into paternity leave, and it feels like it just started.
Yeah. Well, we had some.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It didn't exactly go the way we planned. Which.
Do you want to lead into? You want to talk about it?
Wow.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
So, Alayna's delivery was amazing. It was like super fast. I knew from the moment. I knew exactly when my labor started and all of that. And then getting there, she was born.
We're kind of pros at this point. We knew what to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you kind of just.
I'm the sport team, and you push the baby out.
I do. I did a lot of work. Mm-hmm. But no, it was great. I don't recommend driving. Well, I mean, birth centers, you drive when you're in like active labor. So like 3 to 5 minutes apart, and you're in the car driving to the center. So, but as soon as she was born, everything was great. And then they do her exam, and they noticed her heart murmur. It's kind of where it started. Which apparently a heart murmur for babies, pretty much every baby has it. It just fixes itself on its own as soon as baby's delivered. That's why it's not usually like a big complication or anything. But hers did not. So for the whole 4 hours that we were there, or 3 hours after, because they usually give you some time, it did not get better. And her oxygen levels were not where they should have been, so she wasn't actually getting oxygen to her body properly, like through her blood. And my midwife actually called my pediatrician, which we had never met. The pediatrician took the call without us even being like in their system. We weren't actually even clients of theirs yet. We hadn't, because we were going to go after the baby was born.
We just moved, hadn't picked a pediatrician or anything yet. They were the ones we listed. So
yeah, immediately he says you need to go to the hospital.
This is like 5 a.m.
Yeah. Now, and at this point, at 5 a.m., I had been up for 24 hours already. Because I had woken up at 5 a.m. the morning before, was up all day, just being a mom in life.
Well, you were going through
some and I had started labor, yeah. But we had done things to like make my labor come on. And then active labor was overnight, which is normal for me. My labor is usually always overnight. So I had been up for 24 hours. So to hear that was kind of a shock, especially with where we are in our choices and going to hospitals and stuff like that. Not that we're afraid of them, we just know the purpose of them, right? So, yeah.
Almost felt like it wasn't a necessity.
Yeah.
But we're thankful we did. Yeah. Obviously, it fixed itself.
Yeah. Hindsight, I mean. Yeah. But at the same time, the oxygen level. Anyway, so yeah, we get to the ER and it kind of just spiraled from there. The doctor specifically wanted heart tests done.
Pediatrician.
Yeah, pediatrician specifically wanted certain heart tests done, EKG and echo to be done. And the hospital went the other direction. So they went the breathing direction rather than the heart direction. And that took us down a whole nother rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. To where we really had to focus on what we wanted and not exactly what the hospital doctors
typical protocol
were nervous of or afraid of, and that rabbit hole. What's your thought on all of this? I feel like I just talked a lot.
I don't know. It's an interesting experience. I don't remember last time I was in a hospital that included myself was when I was 6, when I got stitches.
Oh, yeah, when you ran into the...
Actually, maybe it was when I broke my arm.
Oh, I didn't even know you broke your arm.
Oh, what? I broke my wrist.
Really?
Yeah, falling off a fence.
Like a chain link fence?
So, yeah.
Oh, well.
It was like a 4-foot fence.
No kidding.
It was our neighbor. I kicked the ball over the fence. And instead of going around, I thought to be cool, climbed 4-foot fence. I fell off of it, and I landed on my wrist. And then it's kind of, I'm starting to realize I'm more and more like my mom. My mom was like, "Yeah, whatever, you'll be all right, kid," which is how I treat my kids now.
Yeah.
So I remember like going to take a nap or something on the couch, and then I woke up and I felt like my wrist was dangling and my wrist still hurt. And I think I don't remember what happened after that. I just remember going to the ER, getting a cast.
Cast, wow. Yeah. I had no idea.
Oh. So yeah, I was, I think 8 at the time, somewhere around there.
Wow.
So what, 24 years since the last time I was at the emergency room. So not really knowing what to expect. It was pretty irritating and frustrating because we felt like we were out of control as soon as we got there.
Oh, 100%. They split us up right away.
Well, I understood that part because I knew it was like because you had to go register and I had to carry the baby in to the room, and then you were there like 5 minutes later.
Yeah, I guess it didn't take that long, but still, like, okay, bye. I literally just pushed this baby out and like, okay, peace out.
Yeah, you had to walk away. I think overall, looking at everything, I mean, I don't know how far you want to go into details. We kind of talked about it in our blog.
Yeah.
From last week, but I think it was frustrating that all it was, and from our perspective on hindsight, is when they put a feeding tube down her because you weren't able to feed her because they had a CPAP over her head, and then she threw up all the amniotic fluid and then seemed to progress tremendously after that. And we still had to spend another 36 hours No, 48 hours in the hospital
that,
because of that.
Yeah.
It was just like, it felt like we were wasting our time in there. Didn't need to be in there. 2 sleepless nights, pretty much.
Yeah.
I slept on the freaking tile floor.
Yeah,
It was just an overall frustrating experience, and I think it just kind of, I guess, better safe than sorry kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like there was a lot outside of Alayna being fine that I think not only that I learned about myself, but perspective and like being in the ICU, like the NICU, being in the NICU, seeing so many babies and that have been there for months, like 4 or 5 months. And the girl right across from us and her story, like she was willing to open up her story. I felt like she just needed someone to talk to at this point. Like she was just by herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like
she had already been there for 2 months.
Yeah.
And I had intended on being there another 2 months.
At least.
For her baby to recover.
Yeah. So like just perspective and stuff like that. But
yeah, and I think ultimately like our story wasn't as bad or as scary as other people.
No.
Who have been there for several months at a time.
Crazy.
But then it just proves my point. Like it was very dramatic, very drastic to have our baby in the NICU for 48 hours?
Yeah, for what felt like
plus 50 plus hours.
Fluid in her stomach that was compressing her lungs that didn't allow her to actually inflate her lungs properly.
Yeah.
Like that's
also, it seemed it could have been found a lot earlier.
Right.
And it's funny, we talked to a pediatrician. We saw him a day or two later.
Yeah.
It was the day we got released, wasn't it? Or
yeah.
No, it was the next morning. Yeah.
Oh, yes, my appointment.
He's like, I guess you're going to do a home birth now.
Pretty much.
Because the first 2 kids we had were at one birth center, they shut down. So we had to pick a new one. Then we weren't entirely, kind of felt like we were forced to. We really liked them. They were super helpful.
Yeah.
They had phenomenal bread if you didn't see it in the vlog. But it just felt like it could have been caught, and this all could have been prevented.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh. But you only know what you know, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know. What's this? I don't know what the saying is. I always murder.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. You know, I have to admit, it was not interesting because I don't find it interesting when you get emotional, but just different.
Because the first time I cried in front of you.
No, it's not. It is definitely not. Definitely not. But it's very rare for you to be an emotional person like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I lost control. Like we had no control.
Yeah.
And I felt like we were forced to do something that we weren't entirely comfortable with doing.
Yes. I think that was the main frustrating part is
and then seeing your 6-hour-old baby have a CPAP breathing machine that just cover her face.
Yeah. I mean, she was covered in wires. And for anybody that knows and has been around NICU babies, like they're just covered from head to toe
and wires. There's one thing that made me think. I think you were sleeping or something like that. But like the fact, no, you were holding her when one of the nurses was transferring her from the bed for you to hold her. It was like it just blew my mind. There were more wires connected to her than the hours she had been alive. It was just a weird thought I had.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So it's very weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very emotional experience and roller coaster of 2 days.
Yeah, especially already having kids and stuff like that. You already have we already had the expectation. Like, I was looking at it as like, man, this is gonna be the fastest delivery and turnaround that we ever got.
Yeah.
Because we even told the kids, like, if we're here, we'll probably have the baby already, and like when you wake up, we already had the baby, we'll already be home. If not, then the baby just hasn't come yet.
Right.
And like we had planned on getting home before the kids woke up with the baby.
Based on delivery time, we should have been home before the boys even woke up.
Which would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. But to have them wake up and see, that would have been really cool.
Yeah.
But
wizardry.
Crazy. I don't know. I think something that we were kind of going to talk about a little bit was like intuition, like parental intuition versus like the desires of the doctor and not fear of a doctor. Yeah.
What the experts say.
And not necessarily fear. I mean, there's the moth. They have seen things, you know, so like I understand their perspective and where it's coming from. But at the same time, like the method of delivery that we received when it came to the different tests and stuff that they wanted to run, was very unorganized and super disappointing. I think the way that it was handled.
So I was talking to somebody that we went to high school with, and she's a nurse there, and she was just saying like nurses, and we had talked about it, like nurses handle things differently than doctors do.
Oh yeah.
So I think that has a little play into it. Like some doctors like don't even have communication skills.
Well, and sometimes I feel like they're required to like shut that off too, because like the empathy part of it, like the nurses I feel like have the empathy with you, but your doctors have to communicate like the plan and the statistics and what they're seeing objectively, that they can't really have.
Are you getting this from your TV shows?
No, I just feel like, especially based on the doctors we had. Yeah. I mean, I guess they're a little different. It depends on the actual human being, because like one of them was like relatively, yeah, I really liked her, but the boss, she was the boss. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we had to do blood culture, so we had to have her blood taken and all of this, and then they wanted to do the antibiotics. And we just had a really hard time. Again, that's just what we believe, though. Like, there's not a necessity to pump kids, especially a 6-hour-old baby, with all of these synthetic medicines.
Especially nowadays, it's ramped up since when we were born. Like we were able to eat a bunch of crap and still be alive, but now maybe there's just more studies and stuff like that where they know it impacts a child, but I think it's way different. Like I think all that stuff is kind of spiked with the ingredients that they use and the synthetic formulas and all that extra crap.
So we had a really, really challenging time with accepting that. You know, and then you go down even further of a rabbit hole, and then they wanted to do like an ultrasound of her brain, and assuming that was one of the reasons that her breathing was not working, and then do a spinal tap. Like, to do a spinal tap on a brand new infant, like, just went.
Well, what was the story one of the midwives shared with us about the spinal tap?
Specifically, pretty much the same thing that happened to us. Like, they went in for a certain reason, and instead of running all the necessary tests to figure out what was actually going wrong, or what was happening, they went directly and skipped all of those routine tests and went directly to a spinal tap. So they skipped all of the possibilities and went directly to a more invasive procedure without even ruling out anything else. Mm-hmm. And it was like deja vu. She had told us that before we left. And specifically, like, if you find something that you don't necessarily understand or agree with, you first of all ask for clarification before you agree to anything. And if you feel like you should say no, then say no. Like, it's okay to say no.
Yeah, they're not required. Just because it's their idea, you're not required to follow suit.
Right. And it was like deja vu. As soon as it happened, we immediately were like they just told us about this.
That's when we shut her down, and she stopped coming.
Yeah, she never came back.
Yeah, she sent her supervisor, and then by the time we saw her like once or twice, she just asked like how are things going and everything, and then the end of her shift, we saw the new the new doctor,
Mm.
the next doctor, I guess.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, and at that point we had made the decision like, okay, that's too far. It's too far. And on top of that, they hadn't even done the heart test that we had asked them
Originally
to do.
asked for. The reason we were there.
Yeah. So
We had to keep questioning them. It took them another like 4 or 5 hours, 4 hours after that to actually run the test.
yeah.
So I think it ultimately just comes down to like what we talked about. You got to be able to question everything. I think I'm too naive to question stuff, and just kind of like I'm kind of like, yeah, just do it, get it over with, kind of thing. But like when this is just different. Like when it comes to your kids, it's like, wait a minute, like nothing. The pregnancies were all the same. There was never any complications. Obviously, that you have those rare occasions where like something drastic happens and you got to go through all these different exams and everything. But like this was just felt like we didn't need to.
Yeah.
So I feel like we just encourage people to question those things, like whether there's health issues or concerns or something. They question it. Fine, do. I hate saying do research because there's positives and negatives to everything. There's two sides to everything that's out there now. But
seek perspective, and that was something that we did.
We were just thankful that we did get the perspective from the midwives at the birth center. Like, hey, this is probably what's going to happen. And the fact that they even called the pediatrician who had like a second opinion and told us certain things, and then we called him later in the day, and he was like, "No, this makes sense. This is why they're doing it. This is kind of the necessary to. Sometimes you just got to play the game and just run its course. There's probably nothing wrong. It's just safer to do it than not to do it, because you never know. There's always that what if. But like seeking multiple opinions and perspectives in that field is
I mean, you even reached out to people as well about perspective.
I did.
Yeah, you would talk to Ian about stuff too. Later on, because and it got to the point where like nothing with Alayna was wrong. Like all of her, so once pretty much all of her tests came back and cardiology signed off on all of her heart stuff and everything. At this point, it was just a waiting game. We literally just had to sit in the hospital for about 24-ish hours after that, just for monitoring. She just had to be monitored to make sure.
When was this?
After her EKG or her echo came back. So her echo came back clear. That came in, and then they took the CPAP off.
Oh, I remember
at midnight.
Mm-hmm. But they took the blood cultures earlier in the day, and they said 36 to 48 hours is when they wanted to monitor to make sure there was no growth there.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, the 24 hours.
So she had
after the echo.
Yeah, she just had to be watched at this point. So we're just sitting and sleeping on the hospital floor and in these uncomfortable recliner. Just to make sure that she doesn't have a dip when she hadn't have a dip. Anyway, so at that point we were kind of like, okay, like we just want to get out of here. What is really stopping us? And we had run through all different options. There are so many options. You always have an option. Like you don't legally have to stay. However, there are complications when it comes to possibly leaving early. And that was something that we had to work through and figure all that. But we really just wanted to go home at this point, and that was another perspective seeking that, we reached out to people like to help us understand that.
People who work in the hospital.
Yeah.
And have that emergency room background and just being in the hospital in general, you kind of understand like there's like insurance and liability and stuff like that fall into place. And in extreme cases, they could call a DCF on you and stuff like that. So it was just like better safe than sorry. Just kind of suck it up and
well, and we figured out a way to actually like get what we needed accomplished, but also have the hospital to get what they needed accomplished. So like, what is the compromise here to where we can go home? And they were willing to compromise with us. They didn't make us stay. We were supposed to stay pretty much all day Tuesday
Yeah, for the most part.
But they were, willing to. They discharged us at 10 o'clock that morning.
Mhm.
We were the first discharge that
Yeah,
morning.
we were.
Just understanding what you want to get accomplished and understanding what the hospital needs to get accomplished for them to actually sign off and say you're okay to go home. So finding that balance was fun. Was fun when you're not sleeping. But yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Just wild.
That didn't help with the hurricane last week either.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And then we get home and Hurricane Helene hits.
We had like a day and a half to prep. I didn't feel like doing anything because we were completely zonked out on not sleeping. Because I think we counted, we got like 6 hours of sleep within 80 hours.
Yeah, an 80-hour time period.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
No flexing or anything, but I mean, we're still alive.
It was pure adrenaline though. Like, I feel like
I don't even think I had that. Just doped on caffeine.
We were so delirious that we actually had McDonald's for breakfast one day.
That was good.
Like, the pancakes, yeah. It did.
Well, we couldn't find the freaking cafeteria. The 14 different signs that said it's this way and this side is closed, and then there's just like, it did take us a minute to even find Starbucks and
because it was a whole nother area of the hospital.
Yeah, I remember just walking back and forth on this manhole. Literally, I was pro by the end of it.
That's true. We did know where to go.
Man.
But yeah, I mean, we had McDonald's. I haven't had McDonald's in years.
I'll eat their breakfast.
Yeah, years.
I don't know if I'll have their cheeseburgers. I'd be super desperate. I mean, I used to eat quarter pounders, double quarter pounders.
But again, it's different. It's not the same anymore.
Probably the same. It's probably the same as it was 20 years ago.
I don't think so. Even the seasoning and stuff on the fries is different. It used to just be salt and stuff, and now it's like all these like fake stuff all over them.
How do you get fake salt? Is that like crystal meth? Cocaine? What is?
Wow. But yeah, crazy.
So, you ready to have another one?
That'll be an interesting conversation.
It will. Yeah, we joked about having one right after this.
Pop just another one out right away.
Because I wanted 4.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And I feel like we haven't talked about this yet, but it's very interesting having a girl now. I mean, it's already hitting me. Like,
you're so different with her too.
Yeah,
like
I already noticed I am.
Really?
Yeah. But
it's so cute. I love it.
It's kind of like we don't need. I feel like I don't need it anymore.
You don't need another, really?
I think so. I don't know. Obviously, we'll talk about it in the future.
Yeah.
As far as what our decision or plan is.
Oh my gosh! Even today, Declan was like, when we have another one, Mom, and it's a girl, there's gonna be 3 boys and 3 girls, and we were like, well, Declan, like, what happens if? What if it's not a girl? Like, what if it's a boy? And he was like, it has to be a girl. Like, it's gonna be a girl.
I was like, bro, we don't make those decisions.
Like, we can't control that. Like, so like, what if we do have another one? And Declan's super disappointed about it.
Yeah, so to be determined.
Yeah.
On what the future holds for our family.
But I think a lot of it has to do with like our desires on where we want to go and like whether or not we want to move, because I want to have all of my kids down here. And just I don't want to have to find a new doctor up in Tennessee or wherever we go. Just have all the kids down here. So like, are we willing to live down here for another 2.5 to 3 years in the long term?
Mm-hmm.
At the latest, or do we have baby faster and then go up earlier as we wanted to? So, but all in all, it was a wild week.
Mm-hmm. And it's gonna get crazier for sure.
Gosh, I can't believe you feel different having a girl. You're so so gentle with her. I mean, you were gentle with the boys as babies, but it's just different.
She doesn't talk back either, so it's nice. It's great.
Yeah. Well, now she actually talks to you.
Yeah, she said, we're we're already blown away by
Yeah.
her interactions. She's alert. She's already trying to pull herself up. She pays attention when somebody's talking to her.
Yeah.
We don't remember that with the boys.
Mm-mm.
But then again, it was a long time ago, so
Maybe
I feel like that's something we would remember.
That early, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Her neck strength is incredible. Like, holds herself up on the shoulder. It's just
Maybe she wants to be a bodybuilder when she gets older. Powerlifter.
I'm sure she'll be into sports and everything.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Crazy.
So, a lot of things happening.
Yeah. We'll keep you updated on daddy-daughter life over here.
Hopefully we start some traveling here soon now.
Yeah.
The baby's here. Got some plans in the works.
Yeah.
So
family vacations and adventures, and we're starting to get back into things that we enjoy, that we specifically want to do, and not be so bogged down with,
other things that that distracted us for the last 6 years, 7 years. But I mean, we met a lot of great people. It was worth it.
Well, I mean, we learned a lot about ourselves. Yeah. And I mean, even having the way we have our kids.
That's true. Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, we appreciate all of you that watched the vlog last week. It did really great.
Yes.
We hope you guys continue to stick along with us. I mean, if you only watched it to see the baby, I totally understand. She's super precious. She's better looking than all of us. And
she's going to be a ginger, too. I swear, I think her eyebrows are like blondish. They like don't even.
Oh, really?
You can't even hardly see them. Oh, and that's how Declan's for.
She's anything like what I'm imagining. It's going to be interesting. She may be a firecracker.
She's probably going to run this house.
It's between you and her.
See.
And then her and I will team up and take over the world.
Yes. But she and I can team up and pretty much run this whole house. It's the girls.
No, that's not how this works. This is America. Men lead the house.
That is true. Well, in our house, men lead the house. It's
a whole another conversation for another day. But again, we thank you guys. We love you all. Continue to subscribe. Rewind. Subscribe, like, comment. Follow us on Instagram. And yeah, we'll continue to have cool stories, cool adventures, cool videos.
Stay tuned for the adventures.
Yeah.
Do a lot of things.
Yep. We love y'all. We'll see y'all later.
Bye.